Hello, my friends, colleagues, relatives. I was asked to talk a little bit about degenerative myelopathy, which is getting quite common in domestic dogs. Now again, this is something that doesn't happen in nature. You never see a wolf or fox or dingo, wild dog of Africa, or any one of those very close related animal breeds having this problem. And of course, we are being trained by our handlers in a wrong direction. And this is why doctors, veterinarians have absolutely no clue what is it caused by, and if they don't know this, they don't know how to prevent it or how to heal it. Is it even possible to heal it? So what is happening that our pets, most are affected dogs, but cats as well, but dogs are mostly affected. And you can see more and more often poor Pooch strutting on his front paws and dragging his rear end on wheels. And we are saying, oh, we are improving the life of the animal. No, you're not. What is this degenerative disease caused by? And first, what is, in general, what is myelopathy? It is deterioration of spine. But, well, when spine deteriorates, usually problems occur on the discs. And as discs thin down, the spacing where the nerves come out from the spine are being squeezed, affected. And this creates problem to a nerve, makes a compression. And then the nerves don't work properly. So right away we are saying, okay, in the dogs, and again, longer species of dog may develop faster this problem. Also heavier dogs, German Shepherds. Inbreeding may be having some factor there, because we know that this is counter nature. So the genetics don't work that well. But in general, it is the same like in humans. What is the difference between domestic animal and wild animal? The food. And we know what deteriorates the spinal column, what deteriorates the cartilage, what deteriorates the muscle. And all this, we have a visible problem when we are talking about myelopathy. For example, dog that has this problem, first it has difficulty to get up. Why? It's pain. Why there is a pain? Same like it is with us. When we start getting arthritis, there is a pain. When we start getting spondylosis, there is a pain. When we have myelopathy, there is a pain. That's one of the first signs. Then you get unsteadiness because you just basically cannot control. You're getting problem on a nerve level. But then you may get incontinence. You may have difficulty to hold your urine or even your feces. Now we say, This is nerves, and this is where we go treating. Well, it is not so. Certain things are caused by compression of nerves, but certain things that also appear are not. For example, incontinence, in this case, is not caused by compression of the nerve. It is caused by dehydration of the sphincter muscle. Same what happens with the reflux. And reflux we feel sooner, and again we are not treating it, not correctly. We are having antacid, so the stuff that comes out is not as acidic, so it doesn't bother you that much. This is stupid. Yeah, but who said the doctors are bright? We are not bright if we don't see the problem. We are just following the script. This is what we are told to do. So what is happening with the dogs and our animals? Because I wrote article about this in a human version, human myelopathy, on a blog, which I will give you a shortcut to it. So what's happening with our lovely pets? You see, they cannot help themselves. They love sugar as we do, especially dogs. But cat, I was eating chocolate a couple of months ago. It was probably almost a year ago when this occasion happened. Not that I didn't eat chocolate afterwards. But I have a kitten, his name is Guff, and he was probably, I just got him, and he was with us maybe 2 months, so he was probably 6 months old or so. And he jumped on the bed and he saw these chocolates there, and he grabbed one onto him. And I grabbed his hand and squeezed by the mouth to open his mouth to take the chocolate out. And he was growling like he was having a best steak of his life in his mouth. And he tries to hold it and try to defend this with his nails and it looked like a fight. And I managed to open his mouth and take out the chocolate, and he was like crazy looking to get chocolate, and animals love sweet. That's what it's at. It's toxic to us, especially anything else but honey or maple syrup, but original, or sugarcane syrup. But everything processed is toxic to us. So when you start feeding your dogs and your cats and your parrots anything that you start feeding with carbohydrate, remember, in nature it is not available because it's coated with cellulose. So animals do not have contact with glucose. And that's the problem. Not fructose, it's a glucose. So what happens is that when you start feeding your animals with the forbidden food, you have to expect problems. It's the same problems that we experience. As we get the problems with our spine, so do animals. Of course, they have less compression on it because they are not walking upright. But there is a different pressure. And this, now, where the problem comes. What holds the bones, the skeleton in its position? It's the muscles. So when they lose tension, what happens? We get spondylosis. What happens with animals? Well, they get problem with saggy spine. Not only saggy, but basically the belly is pushing down. There is no muscle tension to hold it compact, and by walking like this and doing this thing, well, especially as we go towards the lower back, this is where there is the most problem, and you have improper grinding now of the cartilage that is dividing the vertebra, the discs. And you may get herniation of the disc. Why? Because of bad compression. And why? How can cartilage herniate? Well, it is becoming dehydrated. And everything, cartilage, muscles, tendons, as they dehydrate, they lose tension, they become more brittle or flexible. There's no tension. There's lack of electric charge. Cells are becoming acidic. So everything becomes more brittle. And you get easily herniated, this from wrong pressure, and starts pushing on the spinal cord. Also, the cartilage becomes unevenly grounded, wears unevenly. And this causes all different problems. And this is, dogs first start having problem getting up, because this is basically arthritic problem. Because it doesn't happen only in spine, happens also in all other joints. But we don't see it. We don't see until something becomes useless. And this is slowly what happens with the deteriorating spinal cord and spine in general. So what happened is that first, difficulty getting up. Later, difficulty of holding balance. You push the animal, it can't, it hurts. And it's losing. What happens with your hands when you have a compressed cervical cords? Well, your hands get numb, or they start tingling. You start losing sensation. So the same happens with animals. Only they are not prone so much because they don't have the vertical pressure. So the neck is always stronger in animals. It's a lower back that has a problem. And they cannot control the balance. Then they start dragging one foot a little bit before they completely collapse. So now, and also at the same time, since we are talking about cellular dehydration, and it doesn't happen only on some cells, because it's caused by toxic blood, and dehydrated and toxic blood. So all the cells are being affected. And now you have, because the muscles are losing tension, now same happens with the sphincters. So now they cannot stop urine, or they cannot stop defecating, because sphincter doesn't work. Has nothing to do in this case with the nerve being compressed, but has to do with the general dehydration. Of course, nobody ever thinks about hydration. No doctors think about it. They barely think about changing diet. So now you have a problem of wrong diet and inability to cleanse because there is a low plasma level. Now, how can animals have low plasma levels? But because of a wrong diet and lack of salt. We are giving animals more and more plant food, which deprives them of minerals. Animals get minerals by eating another animal that is full of minerals. Now, if you are not feeding your animal with the proper food, you are giving them plant food and derivatives of our plants, extremely low on minerals, well, their plasma, their blood levels start dropping. We don't even think of giving them salt in the water or put salt on their food. No, salt is toxic. We know it's no salt. I mean, every doctor, first thing it will tell you, if you feel some bad or any problem with the joint, no salt, no salt, no salt. Always completely contrary to what has to be done. But who's thinking? We have script to follow. So, can we prevent it? Of course we can prevent it. Can this be healed? Yeah, but it's way more difficult to heal it than to prevent it. To maintain your car, change the oil regularly. If you do that, car is going to run for many, many years. And of course give it the good fuel. But if you don't change the oil, and if you put garbage fuel, bingo, your car is gone. Well, same as with us. We give a garbage fuel and we don't hydrate. Same is with our pets. They will not drink unless they have thirst. Well, we do the same. I know tons of people, tons of my clients that never drank water until they started with protocol. And then they are surprised how much water their body can hold, and how really toxic they were and how dehydrated they were. So whenever you have your pet, please don't allow it to be dehydrated. Put some sea salt on their food and in their water. You can never harm them with salt, contrary to everything we are being told. You can only make sure that they are well hydrated, and if there is too much salt, they urinate it out, same as we do. Kidney has absolutely no problem dealing with salt and eliminating the surplus. Again, contrary of what we are being told. So, sadly to say, but you have a problem with your pet, don't go to vet. Vets only know how to deal with the symptoms, same like a medical doctor, like physicians. It's all the same baloney. Veterinarian, medical physician, what is the difference? We are all animals. And we are all geared to a specific diet. And no matter if you are talking about herbivores, omnivores, carnivores, none of them should ever have glucose, dietary glucose, starch, carbohydrate. That's a plant food. We are not plants. If you have a gasoline engine, you don't put diesel in a fuel tank. It's not going to run. So, that's where it's at. It's not a big mystery. Just basically correct the diet and make sure you hydrate the animal. And it has to be with plasma, sea plasma, water with sea salt. Not refined, not iodide. And you will see improvement. Of course, later you start, as more and more degenerative process occurs, the more time and more difficulty there will be to bring it back to normal. So prevent it. That's your best possible chance. And if already you have animal that is suffering and has a difficulty, well, just let them follow self-healer's protocol. It's the same for animals as it for us, with exception of, well, of cows, because animals that are strict herbivores that have rumen, they should never ever have meat. But every other animal, including, as we know, horse, they can have meat. You can feed them with meat. Well, they should not have grains, which we always give to horses. And then we wonder, oh, they have colics, poor animal. Well, we have them too when we eat that garbage, but we don't connect it with this. If we had grains and we had meat and we have a digestion problems, it's the meat, yeah, because we are brainwashed in thinking this way. So, it's easy. Just start hydrating your animals. Give them some colloidal silver. It always helps. It helps also with conductivity, electroconductivity of the body. And it offsets a little bit the wrong flora and fauna that is there in intestines. So it's good stuff for animals. You can put some of it, has to be nanoparticle silver, and you put it in a water, but or you can put it directly in the mouth. It's the best way, you know, that they had it. But if you decide to put some colloid in the water, the water bowl cannot be made out of metal. It has to be made out of glass or plastic or ceramic. And you have to keep it in a dark place, because when light hits it, sunlight or even bright light, it is going to oxidize the silver and make it ineffective. Makes the liquid dark. So just darker place, so this doesn't happen, and the animal can drink whenever they drink. And you will see that once when they get used, once when they try it, if you put two bowls, and one with colloidal silver and salt, and one without, they will always go for the salt and always go for the colloidal silver. They will leave the plain water. So it's intuitive and innate, because on a cellular level, they actually have contact with their ego and cellular level. They know immediately when something is good for them or something is bad for them. But same as we, if they are not used to something, then they reject it until they get used to it and realize how it works. So if you have a dog or cat that has spinal problems, remember, it's not just the spine. It's the whole body on cellular level, and it needs hydration. And if you have a vet who is open-minded and call it disease, the toxicity already high, then you can go to the vet to put them on IV with the seawater, diluted sea plasma. You can take seawater, filter it through 5-micron filter, and mix it with distilled water, 3-to-1 ratio, and put it directly in vein, and let them urinate it. You put a drip on it, so they keep urinating and urinating, urinating, and even defecating. Just load them up, So it's not creating problem for kidney. Okay, vets, colleagues, it's all lie. Kidneys have no problem with sea salt. Actually, they benefit from it like the rest of the body, like every single cell of the body. And you will flush the system out and speed up the cellular hydration and healing. And it is crucial that these animals are not exposed to any type of a plant food during the process, so the cells are not closed for hydration. Also, if you have a dog, even cat, you know, cats are a little frisky, they don't like to be handled much. And but dogs, they obey much better. And you can put back pulsar, you can attach to dog and speed up the cellular hydration. Same as us, you just have to shave the area and really shave, then wet it, wet the whole thing, and then attach the probes and put a pulsar on. You will see that the paw is going to twitch a little bit. This is exactly, dogs get a little bit, you know, like, but they quickly realize that there is no problem. I used to put my 2 dogs on a pulsar, and they knew they are not allowed to move when they are connected. Okay, sometimes what happens, we were living on a boat, somebody comes to the boat, knocks on a boat, and they both, and the pulsars are flying behind them. But luckily they are good quality, so they survived. But in general, they had no problem. They didn't like it, because sometimes they came wet from the water, so the whole body is wet. We connect them, and you can see that the whole body starts twitching as the impulses are going through. But no, it's a good for the body. Electric charge is great for the body. Of course, don't stick your 2 fingers in the socket. The electricity is a little bit with too high voltage and a wrong frequency. But exposure to lower voltage frequencies are always good for the body. Thank you for listening. I hope you get it, how you can help your animals. And any other question you have, let me know. When I have time, I'll make a video about it, or I'll write an article. Thank you for being here. Love you all.